I have my A-levels next summer, and you may have some other exams, maybe sooner, maybe later. But we both know that we have to put in a decent amount of work in order to get the grades that we want. And as a result, you're going to be busy for the next 6 to 10 months or so, and that's perfectly fine. But the idea of being busy studying or busy working has so much negative stuff around it, when in fact I feel like it just helps you appreciate more the smaller pockets of time that you do have when you're not studying and not working to go and enjoy yourself. I also believe that you simply wouldn't have any free time whatsoever. Not only is that demotivating and daunting, it's also very wrong. I got very good grades at GCSE by not sacrificing my free time. So I did all the work I needed to do and enjoyed myself at the same time, and I still got the grades. And so when I was scripting this video, I had to really think about what actually allowed me to do this. How did I both balance the amount of work I was doing and the amount of time that I wanted to spend for myself and still get the success that I wanted? Only two things I could think of was that I organised the free time into my day, and I also worked very efficiently. But it's this first thing that we'll focus on mainly in this video. So the main thing that allowed me to do this was learning how to prioritize properly. And that's ultimately what organizing your free time into your day is. Prioritizing is putting the things that are more important to you first, and there are different reasons why things may be more important. Maybe prioritizing in your work is solely based on the importance of the work to get the grades that you want. But maybe prioritizing in your own personal life is to have fun, spend time with your family. There's two different reasons why some things may be important to you, and it's important to realize that before we move on. There's no doubt that your priorities will be different over time. Like when I finished my GCSEs, that revision was no longer a priority for me. It wasn't important to me whatsoever. So now we have this idea of prioritizing things to get those things done. How are we actually going to integrate that into our work? So there's two ways that you could do this. There's a short-term method and a long-term method. The short-term method is very simple. It's literally a to-do list. This is ultimately the most intuitive way of prioritizing things. You say you've got all these things you need to do in a day, and in what order you're going to do them in. There's no point that if you put something 6 on the to-do list because it's the easiest and the least important, you go ahead and do that to feel more productive. You haven't actually scratched the surface of the work that you need to do in that day. Or maybe if you go through 1, 2, 3, and 4 in that day, and you maybe skip out on 5 or 6, that is a substantial amount of work, of important work that you have done, and there's no doubt you would have felt productive in doing it. So what is this to-do list? It's essentially a list of tasks that you need to do before the day is over. This is why it's only a short-term method, it's on a day-to-day basis. The only time that I'd use this method was in my mock exams, because after that I'd move on to the long-term method that I'll show you later. But when I actually used the prioritization for the first time, I found out that I was actually getting work done. So I was using it like this. I was putting the most important tasks at the top. So let's say I was struggling in English, for example. I'll put English revision at the top. Then I'll spend maybe 1 to 2 hours on that. Next thing, I'll focus on physics. Next thing is on biology. And I'll put times next to every single one. That means that I know that I will be doing at least maybe 2 to 4 hours of work every single day. And that work will get done because I feel a sense of obligation or maybe a little bit of guilt if I don't complete those things on my to-do list. There's no point of me really explaining why a to-do list is important. You can probably get to grips with it already. But how do you actually keep yourself accountable to complete these things on your to-do list? The way I did it was I planned the night before every evening during that mock exam period, and I put that post-it note which I planned on my monitor in front of me, so I had some sort of accountability to go and complete those things. I know people who just only use this to-do list and guess what, all their work gets done and it's done in decent time for them. But I always felt like there was something missing. So I had all these tasks that I need to do in the day, and most days I'll probably get done. The English, the physics, biology, day on day, I know that work will get done at some point during that day. But it wasn't that structured, and it did compromise on my free time because maybe I was overspending time on those things and I was just putting so much work into those things as opposed to the things that are probably more important to me personally, like maybe going to the gym or reading or doing exercise in some other form. It was at this point for my GCSEs I started to use a bigger exam timetable calendar. You don't need to have a massive calendar, but the biggest thing that you can take away from this is to create your average day. You have to break the belief that creating an average day and using a calendar is only for super smart and organised and disciplined people, when in fact the only reason why people like me and other people do it is to become more disciplined and to become more organized, and not because I'm inherently organized and disciplined already. So what exactly is your average day? It's basically how you expect most days in your life to turn out, given that you have no distractions and no social events going on. So on a very ideal day, I know it's not perfect all the time, I'd wake up about 6 or 6:30, I'll work for a couple of hours until 9. At that point, I'll eat, go to the gym, and I'm home by 12. From that point onwards, from 1 to about 3, I am studying again. And after 3, I'm working on this YouTube channel until about dinner time. And after dinner, I don't do any work or any extra work because I'm probably going for a run, going for a walk, or winding down and reading. Before I go to bed at probably about 10. This whole structure already includes all your priorities if you don't realize already. The thing is, the fact that I said I'm going to wake up every morning and work shows that my work is a priority to me. If my work wasn't a priority to me, I would probably sell my phone for a couple of hours as soon as I wake up, or probably go to the gym as soon as I wake up. But the thing is, I know that I have that priority in mind to go and do that work as soon as I wake up because it's important to my grades and my uni prospects or whatever. As well as organising your priorities, it also organises your free time. I know between 9 and 12 every single day, I will be at the gym or at least travelling to the gym. And that to me is free time which I've organised into my day and I've made it a priority to do at that time. So this whole idea takes into account your priorities. And maybe you don't have any idea about what you need to do in those work slots that you've organised for yourself. That's when the to-do list comes back into play. You create your average day, then you fill up your day with the amount of tasks that you need to do. It just helps you to organise yourself and keep more consistent. Because when you build momentum in that way, doing work at the same time, exercising at the same time, business work at the same time, it becomes a habit and a routine. And it will just help you to stay more organised and discipline yourself in the future. Well, you may be thinking, how do I organise free time and social time into my day? You can simply just put it on top of the work slots that you don't particularly have time for in that day. It's not an incredible, you must do that work or you'll die or whatever. Those work slots are flexible, but it is your average day. Maybe you have some above average day and you want to go spend time with your family or your friends or whatever. You can organise that on top of your work, and maybe for the next couple of days afterwards, you don't really have anything else to do but to do that work or to work on your business or to read or to exercise. So you have this basis, this foundation, which you can switch up over time based on how free you are. Working at the same time every day made my life so much easier because I simply knew that work would get done. If you did find this video helpful, top link in the description is a link to my free Discord. But before then, I'll see you in the next video.